This video is brought to you by Straight Goods News, Canada's alternative online news source. Visit straightgoods.ca.
For asking questions. The floor is yours.
Thank you. And good morning. Already there's questions. I'm joined today by my NDP colleague Anne Mintu-Quash, the Deputy Environment Critic. I first want to take this opportunity to thank Commissioner Vaughan and his team for their incredibly hard work putting this together. In light of cuts to Environment Canada, the elimination of the National Roundtable on Environment and Economy, attacks on Canadian Environmental Network and on environmental charities, it's extremely important that we have one watchdog here in Ottawa when it comes to Canada's environmental protections, and I can't underscore enough the importance of this office. This report makes it clear that the government just doesn't understand what it takes to make a strong 21st century economy. Stephen Harper is stuck in the past. While businesses across Canada understand that it makes good business sense to protect our environment, this tired and disconnected government is still trying to block progress. In the same week that Stephen Harper is trying to dismantle our Environmental Assessment Act, the Commissioner has made it clear that weak environmental assessments are putting Canadians' health and safety at risk. And not only did the government bail on the Kyoto Protocol, but they aren't even meeting their own insufficient targets. Future generations will have to pay for Stephen Harper's mistakes. Last December, Environment Minister Peter Kent claimed that meeting Canada's obligations under the Kyoto Protocol would cost nearly $14 billion. He told Canadians that protecting our future was just too costly to the economy. But the Conservatives have no idea what the cost of their own plan will be. If Kyoto costs too much, it would stand to reason that there would be an economic analysis of what their plan was. But we don't have one. We seem to be uncovering a pattern with this government. It always seems to be two sets of numbers. Are they hiding these numbers? Are they incompetent? Was this a typographical error? How can we know for sure? This report also reveals the incredible finding that there are thousands of contaminated sites across Canada that are being virtually ignored because of a lack of funding and lack of capacity. What's more, many of these contaminations could have been prevented with proper environmental assessment. The financial liabilities of ignoring these contaminated sites is in the billions, $7.7 billion to be exact. This is what we learned today, and it flies in the face of a government that touts itself as being a good fiscal manager. Instead of righting this wrong, the government is using this budget to gut Canada's environmental protection laws. Instead of basing their decisions on evidence, like the evidence we have before us today, the Conservatives are changing laws at the expense of our health, our safety, our environment, to accommodate their industry friends. This report proves that we have only one chance to get it right when it comes to environmental assessment. We should be strengthening our environmental assessments, not weakening them. And this report confirms what countless Canadians have known for too long. The Conservative government is bad for the environment, to put it bluntly. They refuse to look at the facts, they refuse to be accountable, and they refuse to take any real action when it comes to
even
environment.
back as early as 2007, and now there's no plan.
When the Minister of Environment came forward with his press conference about pulling out of Kyoto, he was fear-mongering. I said at the time it was my opinion that those numbers were not based in fact, that they were a fiction. He said it would cost us, I've forgotten the number already, billions of dollars to meet our targets. There are no penalties under Kyoto, first of all, let's be clear about that. But he came out talking about getting rid of every car and ATV off the road, and we're not going to be able to heat our homes or heat our hospitals. So he comes out with this number that I believe is a fiction, and at the same time the numbers don't exist for their plan. One would think if that was too costly, there would be numbers for their current plan under Copenhagen, but they don't exist. They're working in some sort of fiction world.
So, as the opposition, I mean, does this surprise you? I mean, what can you do about that?
Well, I would hope that we had a government that would be be truthful about numbers, that would come forward, whether it's F-35s or whether it's the cost of Kyoto or whether it's the cost of our environmental plans for the future, and just tell the Canadian public what the real numbers are, what the truth is about the numbers. It's for the Canadian public to decide whether their political decisions were right or wrong, or whether or not Canadians want to move in that direction. But we just have nothing. They refuse to give us the details that we need to make that kind of assessment. Am I surprised? Maybe naively, yes. I would have expected better.
Concernant l'approche réglementaire, qui est la stratégie utilisée par le gouvernement jusqu'ici, ça consiste à cibler chaque secteur industriel et d'imposer des règlements. Ce qu'on apprend ce matin, c'est que ça prend du temps à faire ça.
Contaminated sites. How worried are you about that either that they're not flagged or that we're not following these contaminated sites, and that there are Canadians out there who are living next to them and maybe unwittingly living next to them?
Absolutely. The Environment Commissioner will be at committee today. I don't believe it's televised this afternoon. However, he will be there testifying. We'll have a number of questions about these contaminated sites. He mentioned during the press conference this morning, I think he mentioned around 50 here in Ottawa. He noted, I think it was Montreal and a couple other cities, so we're going to follow up with questions about that this afternoon because it's very concerning.
But I mean, do you think that the onus is on the government to sort of at least make these public?
Well, absolutely. I mean, if he's saying places like Ottawa and Montreal, these are heavily populated cities. Like you said, people could be living beside these contaminated sites without even knowing. Of course we know about Giant Mine. Of course we know about the Sydney tar ponds. But how can there be 50 contaminated sites right here? Where are they? Do we know? Are they in our backyards? I think we should be asking more questions about this. I think the government needs to be more transparent about where we are living. Is it in our backyards? Where are these sites? But please do stay tuned this afternoon because we'll be exploring that with the Commissioner.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.